Again, I just want to welcome you for coming out tonight. This is our seventh year of sponsoring this event. It's good to see all of you here tonight. How many of you are here for the first time? Okay. And those of you that are here for the first time, again, welcome. Those of you here for second, third, fourth, or however many times, again, it's always good to see you. And when I see you or hear year after year after year after year, then I know that you're doing what? The right thing. Yeah, right. You're taking care of business. As always, I've said many times before, most of the faces here, I know you, but just practically, when I was working sex offender registry, all of us, we somehow or another, we got acquainted with each other, and I've never lost the face and also what I would call is the friendship that we developed somewhere along the way. Good, bad, or indifference, but I've always tried to be fair with everyone. As I always said, those things that we do each and every day and the consequences that we make each and every day, it's all about choices. Choices is what brought us here tonight. And I certainly hope that all of you are making great choices. Great choices. As always said, the choices that you make today will determine exactly where you will be tomorrow, many years to come. But, however, as of now, your current situation today, do not allow it to be your destination in years to come. You can do better, and I know you can. You can do better. So I would take that probably 99% of you on state probation. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And let me share something with you. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing being here tonight. Because there's one thing that I can say. If someone accused you of doing something tonight, in particular between 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or whatever time you arrive here, and the time that you leave here, you have the best witnesses there could ever be to say that you were here in a safe place. And believe it or not, it can and it will happen. And I can tell you exactly what happened, and this is one of the things that somewhat prompted us to start having this lock-in. We had a gentleman who was living with family members, and it was about 9 o'clock in the night, and I was on my way home. It was on Halloween night, never forget it. And I received a call, and the caller stated that, "Sheriff, we have this man who's giving out candy, and he's a sex offender. And he's giving it out to all the little girls and boys in the community." Well, I could have chosen not to have gone there, and I could have taken the person's word that called in. But however, I did not take the person at face value that called in. Not to say they was lying, or not to say they was telling the truth. I decided to go and look for myself. You'd be surprised when I drove up and I knocked on the door, and guess what? The old man was sound asleep downstairs. Never went to the door. Never went to the door. All it would have taken was just one of those kids to say what? Accuse him of something. Is that right? Right. So after that particular event there, I got with the probation office, I got with parole, and I said, you know, one of the safest places for our sex offenders would be come into the sheriff's office, or I think at the time, we were holding it over at the judicial building. And I said, that would be the safest place for them. At least we know one thing, that we can positively say, if someone accused one of our sex offenders between this hour and this window of time, we can always say, we know where they are. So I want to congratulate you and thank all of you for coming out again. I know from time to time that you seem to be troubled, you bother about the condition that you're in. But one of the things I can say is that this, no matter how bad your condition, no matter how bad your condition, there's always a bright light at the end of the tunnel. You hold the key. You hold the key. And only you yourselves hold the key to being able to open the door to get to that light. And I guess someone, I don't know whether the judge shared with you, you know, sex offender is so broad. The term is so broad. And it puts everybody in one category. It lumps everyone together. So regardless of whether your offense was this or whether it was that, they consider everybody as what? A sex offender. Now, by saying that, it's up to you. It's up to you to make a difference. The only way you can make a difference is do what? Do the right thing. Do the right thing. And I've witnessed a number of you throughout the years that I've worked with, many of you. You've been doing the right thing. You've been doing the right thing. Some along the way may have stumbled, may have gone back for whatever reason, technicalities, but just do the right thing. I stand here and I may say, well, it's easy. No, I can't say it's easy because I can't tell you the way to feel. I may say it's rough. I can't fathom what you're going through. But I do know that each and every one of you, you're loved by someone. You have family. You have friends. And I have tried throughout the years to be the best of friends to everyone in here. Everyone in here. But I also knew that I had a job to do. But I never allowed my job, my friendship to get in the way of doing the right thing. And I want to congratulate those of you who have, as I would say, allowed me to do my job, but yet and still throughout the years, we maintain a friendship. I don't know what's all in store for tonight. But I ask that you pay close attention and know that anytime I can help you, even though I'm the sheriff, anytime I can help you, feel free to call me and let me know. If I can say one word that will change the outcome, the direction of the course that I'm about to take, I would rather share that word rather than seeing you back here or somewhere else. Again, I want to thank you for your patience, thank you for your time, and it's always good to see you this side of the bars. This side is where I love to see you, and not on the other side.
Good evening. I'm pretty sure that most of you don't know who I am. I am a prosecutor here in Newton County, and I've been here for about 2 years now, a little bit less than that. And I sort of joked around, and I actually was talking to Veronica, if someone actually knows who I am and I've sentenced you, you're probably in a really good spot, because that means that you got a really, really low sentence, or it has been, one of those cases that you can get first offender on. I know that Judge Johnson wasn't sure which cases you can get first offender on or not. The main one is if you are under 21 and you committed statutory rape, or if it's sexual battery of someone under the age of 16. Those are the two main ones that you would be able to get sex offender on, not sex offender, first offender on. And the main answer is, if you have been on first offender and you don't know whether or not you've been revoked, it's your duty to go to wherever you were sentenced and get the paperwork. Because if you have been revoked, then you can't just get off of the sex offender registry. But if you show the paperwork, then your next step would be going to the sex offender registry review board and say, I got first offender, here it is, and then you can be taken off. But asking people or asking Veronica or a probation officer or anything like that, that's not gonna help. You have to do it yourself. You have to make sure that you can get off. And so if you were sentenced somewhere else, not in this county, it might be a little bit harder, but I'm sure you can ask either Willie or whoever your probation officer is, ask if they have the number for whatever county you are sentenced in, and they'll be glad to help you with that. But it's your job to make sure you know what your status is, not anyone else's. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the laws are, so you are aware of it. And the one thing I always stress is Veronica is here to help you. The worst thing you can do is try to hide information from her. She always tries to work with you. Even though I'm going to talk about what the actual laws are, I would say if you get into a fight, you may not even know if you're going to be living in the same household because you got into a fight with your girlfriend or whoever it is. I'd say the first person you call before you call someone else to get somewhere else to stay is call Veronica and say, look, I don't know if I'm going to be able to live here. Because if you don't tell her, that's when problems happen. She tries to work with you, and if you tell her up front your situation before it gets bad, she will continue to work with you. And so I know whenever I do get a case where it's a failure to register, I know and I trust Veronica that you really did something wrong, because I've seen her time and time again give people the benefit of the doubt. And it's not until you continuously lie to her or try to avoid getting into trouble, that's when you get into trouble. But if you're upfront with her and tell her what your situation is, that's the best thing you can do. Also, if you're on probation or parole at the same time, there's two different people that you have to be talking to. So if Willie says something's okay for you to do in terms of probation, that does not mean that it's okay for the sex offender registry. I've seen a couple cases recently where they're like, well, the probation officer here said it was okay if I went to visit family around my birthday or something like that, but then they never told Veronica, and so Veronica takes a warrant out against you. Whose fault is that? Exactly. So just, if you're on probation or parole, you always have that probation officer or the parole officer, but you always talk to Veronica or whoever else is here at the sex offender registry unit, okay? And specifically, under the sex offender registry, you obviously have to register like everyone here is. You have to register with the sheriff of the county in which you reside within 72 hours after you've been released from prison or parole, or if you enter the state. So that's within 72 hours after you've been released. Once you have been on the registry every single year, 72 hours prior to your birthday, and I stress it's before your birthday. So make sure you know 3 days before your birthday, at least 3 days, you have to be going to Veronica or whoever it is at the sex offender registry here in Newton County and letting you know and updating your information. And I stress it's because it's a felony. For that type of charge, you serve up to 1 to 30 years. And recently, I've had someone who got a good deal, begged, cried in front of the judge. He got a great deal because he got like a 10 years to serve the first year in work release because he had a good job. And guess what? He ruined it for everyone else in here if anything ever happens, because the last time I think he was in, New Mexico? California. And so from now on, every judge, when they ask me, well, what do you normally recommend for this? And then they ask, well, didn't you give work release? Yeah, that person fled to California. And so no one else would get the benefit. You understand what I'm saying? It's a really hard charge to get because it's easy, because everyone documents everything so thoroughly that it's a hard thing to just say, oh, well, maybe she forgot, maybe she didn't answer her phone. No, it's your duty to come here. If Veronica's not answering her phone, where do you go? The sheriff's office. You stay at the sheriff's office until someone gets your information that you've moved. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the law is really strict with sex offenders now, and it keeps getting stricter and stricter. Specifically with Anybody who's committed a crime, either on or after July 1st of 2008, this is what you, other than the residency requirements, these are what you have to go by, okay? You can't reside within 1,000 feet of a child care facility, a church, a school, or an area where minors congregate. You cannot be employed or even volunteer at a child care facility, school, or a church, or at any business within 1,000 feet of a child care facility, school, or church. And then, obviously, you can't loiter where minors congregate. And the one thing that a lot of people ask about is residency requirements, or if you've owned a house prior to your conviction and it was on or after July 1st, 2008. If you own your home, immediately you have to show proof to the sheriff's office and to the appropriate people, because then you can still live where your home is. But if you just have a lease, for instance, if it's like a 2-year lease and then you got it before 2008 or something like that, as soon as that lease is up, you're gone. You have to go. But if you were there before you were convicted, you can stay there as long as you show the proper proof, and the sheriff's office will tell you what you need. But afterwards, if you don't own the home and you just lease it, you do have to leave. If you do any of those things, the minimum sentence is 10 years. It's 10 to 30. One of the biggest things that I've actually seen lately a lot is people taking photographs. It's so easy nowadays to be able to take photographs with your phones or anything else that you might have. It is a misdemeanor of a high and aggravated nature if you are found to be taking pictures of any minor without the permission of an adult. And you know that if you're taking pictures and someone finds out later on that you're a sex offender, they're not going to say that they gave you permission to take pictures of their child. So don't do it. And I would say if you are going to do it and they are allowing it, make sure you have it in writing, because you know that they're not going to help you out later on and say, oh, I allowed it to happen. They're going to err on the side of caution, and you're going to be the one that gets in trouble at the end.